Connor, Houston.
Yes, I'm so happy that I got Houston, the team with a ton of history.
Yeah.
Hello, Houston Dynamo subreddit. I'm glad that you're here to roast me because I'm sure I'm going to leave out some of your favorite players on this list. One person that I feel like should be on everybody's list, and he was in consideration for our team of the decade, Brad Davis.
And he wasn't in consideration. He was.
Brian Ching. Oh,
Well, I
no,
didn't pick
Brad
him.
Davis.
So obviously his time was more so in the beginning of the decade for them, but obviously amazing winger for them. He's four-time All-Star, one-time Best 11. He's got the most appearances for them all time, fourth all time in goals for them, most assists all time for them. I don't really think any other case needs to be made. He should be on this Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
My second one, this one I went with DeMarcus Beasley, and I couldn't find too much on statistics for him, but for me personally, when I think of Houston Dynamo, he is the first person that I think of. He's just he is my mascot for them essentially. Obviously, he's one of the best defenders in MLS history. He's two-time All-Star. I'm gonna just leave it at that because my next two picks I feel like are a little more controversial. But so my next one I went with Mauro Manotas. So this is more of a modern day pick, but I think he's been a great striker for them. He has played from 2015 until now for them. He's third all-time in goals for them, which I found kind of surprising. He's got the most goals in one season for them, 18 goals. And I know recently Houston won the U.S. Open Cup, which has been one of their brighter moments in recent history. And in that competition, he scored 6 goals for them. And he's also their all-time leading scorer in the U.S. Open Cup competition. So I think throwing in a more modern day pick, I think he's got to be the guy to be on there. And then my last one, I went with Will Bruin. And he might not be the biggest name, but he's a super solid attacker for Houston from 2011 to 2016. Obviously, if it's from that era, I never really saw him play with them, but the stats kind of spoke for themselves. He was there for both MLS Cup appearances in 2011 and 2012. He's 7th all-time in appearances for them, and he's 2nd all-time in goals for them. So that was mainly the reason why I put him on there.
Interesting.
Go ahead, Adam. You got.
I mean, obviously Brad Davis was the first person I wrote down. I mean, that's just a given. Marcus Beasley was obviously second right in behind him. And then the other two, and these last two could go either way. I just wrote a bunch of names down. I wrote Giles Barnes, Minter Figueroa, Bobby Boswell. Take your pick. Roast me. Go for it.
Make a case.
I can't. No, Minter Figueroa is also one of those guys when I think of the Houston back line over the last couple of years, he's, for whatever reason, one of the first guys that pops into my head. And I didn't necessarily want to. I mean, you could have put the guys that Connor put, the more recent guys, but I kind of focused on their back line for the most part with this list, other than obviously Brad Davis.
I have obviously Brad Davis and DeMarcus Beasley. Got Mauro Manotas as well. Fun fact, Mauro Manotas is only 5 goals off of breaking Brian Ching's goal-scoring record, who is literally a club icon. And if this was not in the decade, and if this was just the entire club's history, he's on here, no question.
Yeah, that's why I didn't put him on.
I don't like the Will Bruin shout. I don't know why I don't like it. It doesn't feel right to me. When you think of a team that he was there for 6 years, I get it. He was there for a long time, but it just doesn't feel like he is the guy there, if that makes sense. And I went with Ricardo Clark. He's almost at 300 games with the clubs. He has at least 25 appearances every year from 2013 to 2017 before he left. He was a key part of the midfield. He was there from 2012 to 2017, but was getting acclimated in the first year. Strong box-to-box center mid. Doesn't really have great stats in terms of, goals and assists because he was really an 8 and he kind of just broke up the play and distributed. However, that was one I was kind of iffy on. I don't think I'd replace him with Will Bruin, but I'm not sure if it's the right shout either. But again, there's a weird part of Houston where not many people know much about what happened in these random middle years.
Andrew's just saving Will Bruin for his Seattle picks.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Let me try to make a case for you for Will Bruin.
Go ahead. So here's the other thing too. Before you do that, I was floating Boniek Garcia too, because he's a little bit more back and forth. But I think Ricardo Clark beat him out. But go ahead. Please make your case.
All right. So I would say this has not been a great decade for Houston, but their brightest moments were 2011 and 2012, that they made MLS Cup final, even though they lost both of them. And he was there for both seasons. And in the 2012 season, when they made the final, he was their top scorer for the season.
Yep.
He also had another season where he was the top scorer for them. He still has more goals than Mauro Manotas at this point. He's second all time. I believe so. I don't remember where I found it, but that's what I saw.
No, Manotas has 62. Will Bruin has 57.
Okay.
So, I mean, listen, it's close, right? But Manotas did it in 50 less games.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think is Bruin, I think he's more of a winger, isn't he?
No, pure striker.
No? He was a striker for them?
Pure striker.
What does he play for? Is he a striker for Seattle too?
Pure striker, yep. Always
when he's healthy, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well,
here's
I thought he was a winger.
So here's my argument against you. You talk about how they made it to MLS Cup in 2011
and 2012.
Well, yes, but I'm talking about 2011 here. He scored 5 goals and didn't score in the playoffs. He was huge in 2012. I'll give you 2012. And then he had a year where he had 11. He had a year where he had 10. He had a year where he had 8 and 7. So he was playing a little bit of both. Then he left. He had 4 in 2016. He was spotty, if anything, for me, which is why I can't go with him. Again, I'm not saying Ricardo Clark's the answer. I just don't think Will Bruin is the good replacement.